Hey everybody, welcome back to Vegas Weekly for Saturday, June the 11th, 2022. We've got kind of a mixed bag of a show for you today. I think I've probably used the title before, but I think we'll just call it Potpourri. Got a few news items I want to cover today. I do have a channel I want to introduce you to, a few sort of self-indulgent moments along the way, and who knows what else we might stumble into over the next 15 minutes or so. I hope you'll join us for Vegas Weekly. Just a reminder that we are just 2 weeks away from the Fancy Show. I remind you so that I remind myself to go ahead and do the legwork that's going to be required to put that together. I do know what the show is going to be about. It'll be about 15 minutes like most of them, but so we're going to work on kind of setting up the outline for that this week, and then we'll put that together next week, so hopefully that'll be entertaining. I did want to follow up on a news item we talked about briefly last week, and that is the potential demise of the Elvis wedding. It appears that such a passing has been greatly exaggerated, and that it is very likely you will continue to be able to be married by Elvis, but those businesses which want to use the name, image, likeness of Elvis will likely have to pay some type of licensing fee to the holders of that license. So, you know, it's a bit of a money grab, I guess, which makes some kind of sense, but it is likely you will continue to be able to get married by Elvis, should you choose to do so. Also wanted to talk briefly this week about the possibility of an NBA team coming to Las Vegas. There was news reports that LeBron James would like to own such a team. Although there has been speculation that both Las Vegas and Seattle might receive NBA franchises sometime in the next couple of years. Commissioner Adam Silver kind of poo-pooed that idea about a week ago in an interview. It had been thought that perhaps there might be expansion as soon as 2024. That, I suppose, is still possible, but it now appears that it would be pushed back a couple of years if it happened. And again, one wonders how all of the events at the T-Mobile Center would be accommodated if you also include an NBA team. Of course, that would, of course, be taken care of. You build yet another arena, which, of course, there's been announcements about doing that as well. Outside of that, not a lot of news in the Las Vegas Valley this week other than it's been hot. And of course, we did see the arrival just a few days ago of our friend Mark Anderson, Pennies for Vegas, who's currently tearing up the town. Definitely follow his blogs for more entertainment and education. Before we continue on with anything else, wanted to go ahead and introduce you to our YouTube channel of the week. Once again, it's a charming couple. Once again, they're from Canada. So without any further ado, let's introduce you to Heather and Eddie from Born to Vegas. It's perhaps getting a bit redundant for me to say that really enjoyed the couple of videos that I've watched from these two. Again, they bring a fun, fresh approach to the vlogging experience. You can see they're only about 150 people away from hitting that magic 1,000 mark, and they've come up very quickly. They only have like 16 videos, I believe. So definitely go check them out. I think you'll enjoy their content, and maybe you could subscribe. We can push them up a little bit closer to 1K. As always, I'll put a link to their channel in the notes below. A couple of brief self-indulgent notes to talk about. First off is my trip to Vegas that will be coming up the first week of September. I don't think I've officially announced it, but I'll be flying out late on the evening of August 31st, which I guess will mean it'll be the first night in the month of August I've spent in Vegas. And I won't be flying back until very early on the morning of the 8th, so I'll be there 8 nights, although it's basically might say 7 days because it's not going to be too many days, too much time on the Wednesday or that Thursday morning. I've not yet decided where I'm going to stay. Probably will be 2 or 3 different properties. It's going to be kind of an expensive weekend. So if anybody's going to be in town during that time, let me know. I don't have any particular plans for a meetup. I know a lot of folks are coming to town the following month for October and Granny Fest, and that's great. So many good people involved in that project. For me, I kind of want to have a little bit more of a laid-back experience after the last few trips. And also it is my birthday on the 6th of September, so that works out well. I will be attending Mark Timber, since Mark's birthday is the day before mine. So I'll try to sort of piggyback on top of that again. But just looking for more of a relaxing week. And like I say, not planning any Vegas tips and tricks sorts of stuff. But again, if you're going to be around during that time frame, you see me, say hi. We'll see what comes of that. Also, in the self-indulgent category, wanted to let those folks who might not know that our Facebook group hit 100,000 members this week, and at times this past week it felt like there were 100,000 people who were being somewhat troublesome. I think we're up to 101,000 now, but the vast majority of folks that are part of the group are good people who are either seeking information or do a great job at providing it. It is hard for me to believe that like a year ago we were at 20,000, probably 2 years ago around 5,000, and probably a year before that just a few hundred. So it's been a tremendous rise over there. And we certainly appreciate everybody that contributes to that, all the moderators and folks who help make it happen. And so there you go. If you're not a member and you want to be, I think you can probably find it. Okay, wanted to spend the balance of the show talking about a topic that I was going to raise on the Vegas Tips and Tricks show, but it doesn't neatly fit into like a 2 to 3 minute segment. So I wanted to stretch it out just a little bit further. And yes, there's some math involved. So, all right. Probably one of the most common questions you get is about Las Vegas is, where should I gamble? Where do they have the loosest slots? And the truth of the matter is that we don't really know. Let me explain. There are some jurisdictions, I believe Atlantic City does, I believe like the casinos in Missouri and Iowa that report payback percentages do so by casino. But in the state of Nevada, it's done by region. So there's a region for Reno, for example. There's a region for Tahoe. And in Las Vegas, you have, I believe, 5 separate regions, not counting Laughlin. The Strip area, the downtown area, North Las Vegas, the Boulder Highway, and then the others, I guess, which I'm thinking probably includes places like the Orleans or the M Resort, those kinds of places. And for each of those sort of areas, there is a report of payback percentages by denominations. So 1 cent, 5 cent, 25 cent. I think they do one now that's like multi-denominational. But keep in mind that that throws together the sort of traditional 3-reel slot machines. I believe any sort of gaming machines on the floor, whether it be video craps or blackjack, any of those things, your sort of, video slots, with all the bells and whistles that we're used to these days, but also video poker and video keno. So when you look at that number, not only is it not casino specific, but it doesn't tell you where that number came from. Now, traditionally, if you look at the numbers, the Las Vegas Strip has the lowest payback percentage in the Las Vegas area. And then typically downtown is next. Although the difference between the two has been narrowing somewhat in recent years, at least the last times that I've looked at it, there wasn't as dramatic a difference between the downtown casinos and the Strip casinos as there once was. And then, like I said, generally the outlying regions, whether it be Boulder Highway, North Las Vegas, or others, have even higher payback percentages. But one thing to keep in mind when you look at that is that a lot of those outlying casinos, a lot of those locals casinos, have a disproportionate number of video poker machines. Now, video poker is a game where you can see the payback percentage just by looking at the payoffs for each individual hand. So it may simply be that the reason that Boulder Highway or North Las Vegas has a better overall payback percentage is that the mix of machines is more heavily towards the video poker machines, which tend to pay back better. We don't really know whether their goldfish machines or Wheel of Fortune machines pay back any better than the ones at the Palms or the Wynn or the Fremont. So that's one important thing to look at when you're trying to make those kinds of decisions. We don't really know about the slot machines themselves. Okay, so now comes the math part. When you look at payback percentages on any game, really, it's figured over a much, much larger number of trials than you and I will ever experience in our lives. You might say that in the long run, your success on a particular machine will mirror the percentage payback. But that long run is probably longer than most of us will live. Now, there are games where most of the paybacks are sort of even money. If you play a game like Blackjack, for example, or play like the pass line at craps, or, red and black on, roulette, that kind of thing, you're basically, just flipping a coin. And the coin is weighted slightly against you. But over time, you're probably going to see a pretty strong relationship between the payback percentage of the game and your own results. It's not certain, but again, that's assuming perfect play on your part. But most slot machines, whether they be traditional slots, video keno, video poker, a significant percentage of that payback is in very large payoffs. Whether it be some sort of a massive, multi-$1,000 jackpot on a slot machine, whether it be a royal flush on video poker or some sort of four of a kind. In Keno, on some of the very large payoff levels, whether it be 7 out of 7, 8 out of 8, that sort of thing. Those things happen very rarely. They happen so rarely that it's unlikely that in our lifetimes we're going to experience those payoffs in exactly the percentages that would be required for our percentage to match the percentages that the machine is supposed to pay out. I guess what I'm saying is that it does kind of just come down to getting lucky. If you really spend a whole lot of energy, trying to travel all over Las Vegas to try to get the loose slot machine at Sam's Town, in all likelihood, you've expended more time and gasoline money, particularly these days, than you will ever earn back in terms of any differences in the results of your play. So, when people say, oh, yeah, I'm going to, go out on Boulder Highway and play because I can do better. Well, again, if you can, look at video poker and even video keno, you can kind of figure out the payback percentages a lot of the times. But, if you're doing it to play slots and you're thinking that you're going to win some big advantage by hitting some of these remote places, you're probably really not. In the course of a lifetime, it's going to be just dumb luck. We all know somebody that's hit like a dozen royal flushes in the last 3 years, and then there's this poor schmuck that hasn't hit one in 20 years. That's real. We all know people that get a hand pay every time they go to Vegas, and other people who play all the time and have never gotten one. And it's just because those are such rare events that mathematically it's not very likely that your results are going to be the same as the expectations of that machine. The point of this discussion isn't to tell you not to pay attention to the numbers. Again, if you're playing video poker, you're playing keno, it definitely pays to look at those payback percentages. And there are ways to look at slot machines and see which ones may be a little bit better than others. I guess my point is that there's no simple answer, that I can't tell you where the loose slots are, that I can't tell you where you're going to go and win, because you're not always going to win regardless. All right, I hope that information has been somewhat helpful and somewhat understandable. If it hasn't, the fault is all mine. The fault is also mine for the show that has preceded, and the one which we will do once again next Saturday. Hope that you'll join us then for another episode of Vegas Weekly. Until then, I hope that you have a great, lucky, and healthy week. See y'all again real soon. Bye-bye.